Hello, Canadian Love. I wanted to do a brief user's manual in the form of a rant. Maybe we'll do an official one later, but in the form of a rant because, I'll be honest, it may come off as slightly preachy, and if so, I apologize, but I really want to express this. So, Canadian Love is about really listening to people that you traditionally would disagree with. And it's not about their facts. It's not about attacking, well, they said this and I believe that's wrong. That's not what Canadian Love is about. Canadian Love is about really listening to why people believe what they believe. And the thing is that there are a lot of really good humans in Canada who disagree very, very strongly right now about what would make Canada better. But none of them believe they are a bad person. Even white supremacists think of themselves as the good guys on their own personal crusade for a better world, right? That's ridiculous. But it's fact. Like, nobody thinks they're the bad guy. And when you focus on the surface level of their arguments and you say, well, they said that, I disagree with that, they said that, I disagree with that, then you can't possibly hope to build trust and love and understanding. And if you can't build those things, then try to get them to listen to you. It's not going to work. So the idea behind Canadian Love is really to focus on understanding why people say what they say, why people believe what they believe. And to do that, you have to listen on a level that is deeper than just going, ah, he said that, no. How she said that, nah, yes, no, yes, no. It's about listening to the human, not the arguments. We've had the arguments. We've had Facebook comments for miles of the arguments. That's not what we want. We want the humans themselves. Sorry, which way am I turning left on Harbor? Okay. We want the humans themselves. That's what Canadian Love is about. So user manual wise, observe yourself listening to this show. Observe your reactions. Because if you are watching somebody speak and you're going, no, yeah, maybe, no, well, they're an idiot, you're not really listening to them on a human level. You're not really listening. You're just, using them and their words as a way to confirm your own bias. And that's not really helpful to you or the world. What's helpful is listening to try to understand them as a human. And here's the thing, let's say you are someone who believes they're a good human and that the way to a better Canada is through what is currently considered right-wing politics, And you think that, I've had a lot of right-wing people tell me, yeah, the liberals, they're so mean, they don't listen to us. As soon as you disagree with them on anything, they just write you off and say, well, you're just a dumb xenophobe or Islamophobe, whatever. You can't disagree with them, they won't listen. Okay, fine. But if somebody makes a comment and you go, you're just a feminist, you're just an SJW, you just want to be offended, how are you better? Are you not also just getting offended on a shallow level basis of what someone is saying instead of listening to them on a deeper level? So when you're watching this show, please don't do that. Please listen to these humans who are coming and divulging how they feel about things for us to understand them. Listen to them as humans and don't just write off their arguments. Similarly, I have a lot of friends on the left who say, oh yeah, the right-wing guys, they're so intolerant, they're so entitled, me, it's all about their opinion. But if you are listening to someone talk who is right-wing and just writing them off based on a comment they say and going, yeah, you're just a right-winger, isn't that also profiling? Isn't that also prejudice? So please don't do that on the show. Listen to people and listen to them with the intent to understand why they believe what they believe. Because, and I think I said this in a different rant that we may release earlier or later, in mediation, they talk about icebergs. There's the tip of the iceberg and then there's everything underneath. And I've actually gone through mediation for what could have been a really nasty custody battle. So I have a lot of respect for mediation. And the idea behind mediation is that if you look at the tips of the iceberg, the shallow level arguments, this is what I believe, you see climate change is real and climate change is not real. Well, we can't agree. That's pretty different. You see, let in more immigrants, stop letting in immigrants. oh, well, those views are literally opposites, so I guess we won't be able to work together or understand each other. But when you get down into the iceberg of the underlying emotional reasons why we believe what we believe, then you find things that you can work together on. And if you can allow yourself to work together with someone who you feel is morally not as pure as you are, then we can actually make the world a better place. And if you do not allow yourself to truly listen to people or to consider working together with them when you could by finding common ground, but you refuse because you perceive them as being morally inferior to you, you're part of the problem. Even if you are being intolerant to intolerance, good. Don't tolerate intolerance. Don't let people hurt people in front of you. But if you are refusing to listen to humans because you feel that they are intolerant, instead of getting down into the why of why they are intolerant so that you can find common ground and dismantle intolerance, then you're not really helping. The way to help intolerance isn't to not listen to people who are intolerant. It is to listen to people who are intolerant, figure out why they are intolerant, and address those things so that common ground can be found and so that relationships can be rebuilt. The root of intolerance is fear and feeling unloved and feeling that needs haven't been met. To solve intolerance, you need to break it down to those roots and then build it back up into tolerance. If you're just intolerant to it, what you're going to have is more intolerance, you know? If you really don't like the color red and you look around and you see some red and you're like, I'm just going to paint it over with red, guess what? You're going to have more red paint. It's going to be red paint everywhere. And intolerance is the same. Hate and fear are the same. So that is why when you're watching this show, please, I beg you, and when you are listening to humans, when you are listening to regular humans who you disagree with in your day-to-day life or on Facebook comments, don't write them off as an SJW or a crazy alt-right xenophobe. Listen to them with the goal of understanding why they think what they think. And if nothing else, you'll know thy enemy. But hopefully you can find some common ground on an emotional level and begin to make people better by believing that they are better. Because that's how that works. I've seen it with my own life and with parenting. Turning left here is really challenging. We might just have to go around or something. I've seen this with myself in parenting. When I go into a situation thinking of my child as someone who misbehaves, even if he has misbehaved, I reinforce that. And I create a child who goes, well, my dad thinks I misbehave, why disappoint him? And on a subconscious level, he acts out more because he's just trying to fulfill this expectation that I have put. When I go in loving my child and saying, you know what, people misbehave, I know that you willfully did that terrible thing to your mother's crockery, but I'm still going to love you. You are not a misbehavior. You are a good child who misbehaved and smashed a plate. When I do that, every time the result is he no longer wants to act out as much. He no longer wants to misbehave because he goes in with the expectation, I am a good person who misbehaves. So if we could start doing that to each other, if we can start going in with the expectation that we're all good people who just disagree, then maybe we can start loving tolerance into existence, right? Like tolerance comes from love. So if you want more tolerance, you kind of have to love it into existence. You cannot intolerant tolerance into existence. That doesn't work.